Good evening and welcome on this Diwali day. I'm so glad that you have joined me here. And over the course of the next 60 minutes, we are going to learn many things about how we can focus, how we can concentrate to take our life to the next level. But before I do that, I want to get to know my audience in each and every webinar. So I want to get to know you. So tell me, where are you from? I'm from Hyderabad right now, sitting in Hyderabad in my home. I want to know where every one of you is from. So I get to know you better from Ratlam, from Bangladesh. All right, all the way from Bangladesh, Odisha, Hyderabad. Tarun, I'm from Hyderabad as well. Varanasi, Anantapur, HP. Wonderful. Kashmir, Bihar, Warangal. By the way, I am from Warangal. I was originally from Warangal Giri. I studied from REC Warangal. Okay, great. Tamil Nadu, Kolkata. Isn't it wonderful that we are all connecting in this way? And I really welcome. And like I said, I want to get to know my audience even better. So tell me, is this the first time that you are seeing me, or have you seen me before? I am launching a poll. If this is the first time, click on A. Yes, Venkat, this is the first time I'm seeing you. If this is not your first time, click on B, that you have attended my previous webinar. All right, let me end the poll. A or B, A or B, ending the poll and sharing the results. 75% of you are seeing me for the first time, and about 25% of you are seeing me again. And for those of you who are seeing me for the first time, thank you for choosing to invest your time with me. And for those of you who are returning and seeing me, about 25% of you, again, my gratitude, because you are coming forward to see me again. You have attended my previous webinar and still want to come back, and I am in gratitude to you. So I want to acknowledge each and every one of you for being here on this Diwali day, on this very auspicious Diwali day when the cosmic energies are at their peak. Here we are connecting. This is the way that the universe has connected you and I today. And I know you could have been doing any number of things, especially on a festival day. You could have been spending time with your family or any number of things, but you have chosen to be here at this time, and that tells me that you are really interested in learning new skills, in taking your life to the next level. And I understand that, and on my part, I want to make sure that every minute that you spend in this webinar is going to be well worth your time. But you know what? I cannot do it alone. I need your cooperation as well for you to derive the maximum benefit out of the time that you and I spend together. I want your commitment on three aspects. The first aspect is that because we are talking about how to focus and how to concentrate, I want your commitment that you will be entirely focused and concentrating throughout the duration of this webinar. The second commitment is for you to be fully engaged with me. By fully engaged, when I prompt you to type something in the chat, please do so. When I prompt you to participate in some polls, please do so. Those are the two ways in which we would be interacting with each other. And also engage with me as I take you through some journeys into the inner depths of our minds. That is the second commitment. And the third is stay in this webinar until the very end so that you can derive the maximum benefit. So what are the three commitments from your side? Focus and concentrate, engage fully, and stay until the end. So I want to make a deal with each and every one of you. Is this a deal? Can you commit to these three things for the duration of this webinar? If so, type a D in the chat. Type a D in the chat if it is a deal. Okay, deal. Great. Thank you. Thank you everyone for making a deal with me. And wonderful. All right, good. So what I am going to do now is to close the chat. When I say close the chat, it means that you can still write to me, but it is that others in the webinar will not be able to see your messages, so that everyone can stay focused. And from time to time, I will open the chat whenever I prompt for something. So now, the title of this webinar is Focus and Concentrate to Take a Quantum Leap. Focus and Concentrate to Take a Quantum Leap. That is the title. But quantum leap to where? That is the very first question you might have in your mind. Venkat, where shall I take the quantum leap to? You know, there are so many facets to our life, so many aspects to our life. We have a personal life, we have a professional life, we have a family life, we have a financial life, we have a social life, many aspects of our life. And really, focusing and concentration can take us to the next level. We can take a quantum leap in any of those areas, but we need to focus, right? So we will, specifically, we will focus on two areas, although the principles will apply to any area of your life. And the two areas that we will focus on is professional life and financial life, because they are so closely interrelated. In fact, all aspects of our life are so interrelated and interdependent that if we take a quantum leap in one, we are mostly advancing in the other areas of our life. And if we fall down in one area of life, other areas of our life also come down. But instead of going on that path, we are going to focus only on the professional and financial aspect. And more specifically, let us focus on the professional life only. Each of you, I'm guessing most every one of you might be working in some job as a professional, or you might be having a business of your own, or you may be pursuing your own interests. Whatever it is, you must be in some line of work. And I am also guessing that many of you are really aspiring to go to that next level, to ascend that professional ladder of success. I'm just making these assumptions, and I hope I'm right. And the reason I'm able to identify with the professional life and carrying up and going up the ladder in the professional life is because I myself had been a professional many years ago. I used to work as a software professional in the San Francisco Bay Area in USA. I worked there for 18 years, worked across many high-tech companies, and one of my um, peak job positions was I was working at Sun Microsystems back in 1996, where I was a member of the original team that created and developed the Java programming language, which is so widely used. So I have been in a professional life until 2005, when I became a full-time student of spirituality. That is another story. But I know what it means to climb up the corporate ladder. I had been a successful professional, and I'm assuming that many of you are wanting to climb the professional ladder and take big steps. Now, tell me, in your opinion, what are the most important skills, what is most important for us to advance in our professional life? Is it skills, technical skills? Is it communication skills? Is it knowledge? Is it degrees? Is it contacts? Is it luck? Write in the chat what you think are the most important requirements for us to advance in our career. communication skills, intentional attention, Saugata, great communication skills, luck, combination of all skills, IT, technical skills, communication skills. Wow, look at everyone. Wonderful. Thank you all for communicating with me. Most everyone is saying communication skills are the most important, but you know what? Okay, so communication and technical skills, and I appreciate every one of you. Mindset from Facebook. All right. Okay, great. Now, remember your answers. Remember your answers. We are going to circle back to this. And so keep whatever you have typed, all of these answers in your mind. But first, we need to go on a visualization journey. We need to really, because we are talking about profession, and it is my intention for each and every one of you that in this lifetime that you reach unprecedented, you scale unprecedented heights of success in your professional life, and of course in all areas of your life, but we are only talking about our professional life. So it is my desire that you all reach heights that you never thought was possible. And for that, we first need to leave this conscious mind, this questioning mind, this doubting mind, and we need to enter into a realm of possibilities. So come on a journey with me for the next 5 minutes. Follow my instructions exactly as I say. And this is that part of the deal where you said that you would engage with me. And I said, yes, part of the engagement is going on into the depths of our mind, going on some guided meditations. So I want each and every one of you, wherever you're sitting, make sure that you're sitting comfortably, but sitting straight. I want you to relax your shoulders, relax your neck, relax your face. Make sure that your body is relaxed and not tense, and paying full attention here without any distractions. Now, take a deep breath in, taking in the energy from the universe. Take the deep breath in and exhale deeply, letting go of any thoughts, any worries, any anxieties. Exhale. Now, close your eyes. Close your eyes and bring your focus to your breath. Only on your breath. As you inhale and as you exhale, become aware of my voice. Now, with your eyes closed, imagine that there are roots extend from the bottom of your feet. Your feet are planted on the ground firmly, and there are roots extending from the bottom of your feet all the way to the center of the earth. You are firmly held by Mother Earth. Your body is very stable. Your eyes are closed. Your breathing is relaxed. Knowing that your body is secure in the chair that you're sitting in, let your spirit rise from the body and let your spirit be above your body. You are now looking down on your body, which is held safely by Mother Earth, but you, the spirit, you, the soul, are free to go anywhere. Now, imagine that there is a timeline, a scale, a timeline from the present moment all the way into the future, and you are free to travel anywhere along this timeline into the future. Now rise above the timeline and start gliding towards the future to the peak point of your career or your profession. You are now in the future at the peak point, at the highest point of your career or profession. Now, suspend all questions that may be arising from the conscious mind and just visualize what is that highest peak point of your career. What would you like it to be? What is your spirit wanting it to be? What is your full potential in the world of possibilities where nothing is impossible? Would you like to be a CEO of a company? Would you want to have a very successful startup unicorn? Do you want to be recognized the world over for the work that you do? Maybe as a doctor, maybe as a researcher, as an author? What do you see yourself pursuing? What level of success do you see yourself having? What level of success do you want to have in the world of possibilities, the highest peak that you can possibly imagine for yourself? How does that make you feel? What does it mean in terms of financial stability? Just visualize how you would be feeling when you are at the top of your career. Take that in, that feeling. Take that imagery in, knowing that that is something that is possible. And now, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, let your spirit again rise above the timeline and travel back in time. It is traveling back in time all the way to the present moment. And now your spirit is hovering above your body. And when I count up to 3, your spirit will enter into your body easily and effortlessly. 1, 2, 3. Welcome back into your body, still with your eyes closed. Be aware of my voice. Become aware of the chair that you're sitting in. Become aware of your breath. Bringing the 2 palms of your hands together. Rubbing the 2 palms against each other to generate some heat. And cup your palms over your eyes. And whenever you're ready, gently and slowly open your eyes. All right. I hope every one of you have been able to take that journey. Share with me how was your journey, whether you took that journey and how that journey was. Type in the chat one word, two words, very simple things. Type in the chat. I'd like to know how your journey was. Some are saying it is amazing, excellent, soothing, awesome, great. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing beautifully. Thank you. Good, good, good. All right. So there was a reason why I took you on that journey to see what is really possible in the world where we leave our conscious questioning mind behind. And remember, the title of this workshop, this webinar is Focus and Concentrate to Take a Quantum Leap. And we narrowed down the area to our profession. So thank you all for sharing. Now, let us understand, just remember what you have visualized for yourself. We will come back to it. Plant it in your heart. We will come back to it. But first, I want us to explore two possible ways of getting to that peak, right? One is a linear path and another is a exponential path. Now, what do I mean by linear path and what do I mean by exponential path? Let us look at it a little bit closely. See this graph. In this graph, if we take the linear path, it is a straight line which kind of sort of increases over a period of time. That is the linear path. Whereas the exponential path is what the name suggests. It takes a huge jump, unexpected jumps. So that is the linear path versus the exponential path. So you have all imagined what could be the peak, what you want your peak to be, even though consciously we may not think that it is possible, but at least we've entered into a realm of possibilities and we visualized what we want. And it is in accordance with nature that we try to aim for the highest thing possible. So you have visualized that. Now, I want you to tell me whether to reach that point, to that peak point, whether a linear growth will take you there or whether you really need that exponential path. In the chat, type L for linear or E for exponential. L or E, L or E, and I see so many of you type in a E, in exponential path. Yes, I agree with you that it is the exponential path that will take us there. Great, thank you so much for so vividly expressing all of that, and I totally agree with that. Okay, now we are going to circle back to some of the things that we discussed previously. Many of you, when I asked you the question, what is required to take our career to the next level, many of you said technical skills, communication skills, knowledge, degrees, contacts, luck, everything. Yes, of course, all of these are required. The question is, are they the most important ones to have in order to take us onto an exponential path? Everything that you mentioned is important, but you know what is even more important than all of these things? It is a mind, a stable mind. Because without a stable mind, all of this can become not so useful. More specifically, the most important skill that is required for us to go on to that exponential path is focus and concentration. Focus and concentration, and we will go into what focus means, what concentration means, how we can have a sustained concentration and focus. We are going to go level after level, one level at a time. We are going to go into the depths, but know that the most important skill, the base, underlying base for everything else is a stable mind and focus and concentration. If we are able to get that focus and that concentration, then we can put ourselves on that exponential path, not only in terms of reaching the peak of our career, profession, or our financial life, or our personal life, family life, anything. It applies to anything, right? It is that general skill. It is that mindset. It is that way that we actually are able to deal with things, or rather, how we choose to deal with things. So that is focus and concentration. But we all need to come to a common platform. Each one of us may be having different definitions of focus and concentration, and some of you might be saying, okay, Venkat, what do you mean by focus? What do you mean by concentration? Don't they mean one and the same thing? So let us all now come on to the same platform, so the same understanding, the same definition of focus and concentration. Very simply, focus, what does focus mean? Focus means narrowing down our attention to something. Just like you see on the graphic on the left side, where the sun rays are scattered, but if you hold a convex lens, you are able to gather a subset of those sun rays into one single beam, which is much more powerful than the individual rays of the sun. So that is focus. What is concentration? Concentration is the ability for us to maintain a sustained focus uninterrupted until we finish a task. So, coming back to this example, the moment we hold the convex lens and the rays of the sun come to a single point, that is focus. But what happens if we immediately remove the convex lens? It is no longer going to achieve our stated purpose, whether it is to generate heat and generate some fire by burning some paper or some grass. So you were able to focus, but then you were not able to maintain the focus. But if you hold the convex lens long enough, then the heat is generated, then the fire gets started, and your task is complete. So there is a very, very clear distinction between focus and concentration. Another way of looking at focus and concentration is right now you have set aside some time to be in this webinar with me. So in that sense, you have narrowed down your focus of activities. You could have been doing any number of things, but you are focusing on this webinar. But you would be concentrating only, you would be deriving the full benefit out of this webinar only when you give your full concentration on this webinar, that is without any distractions, engaging fully everything else that we talked about. So these are the two differences between focus. These are the difference between focus and concentration. They are related but not exactly the same, and we are going to look at exactly how we are going to train our mind and train our body in order to gain more focus and more concentration so that we can take that quantum leap. But in order to do that, we need to understand a little bit more, some of the basic underpinnings of focus and concentration. So to understand about that, we need to introduce two more terms. Those two terms are mind and awareness, because focus and concentration stems from the mind and from the awareness. So we need to understand that, and the moment we have a very clear understanding of that, then we can know, okay, great, now this is how I am going to learn, this is how I can learn how to focus and concentrate. So those two terms, mind and awareness. Now, mind, of course, we are all, we know what our mind is. Each one of us has this mind, this monkey mind, and we are told, or we know intuitively, that this mind is supposed to be the most powerful instrument or mechanism that we have access to. And our mind indeed is extremely, extremely powerful, provided we know how to use it, right? Because the mind can be our best friend and take us in that positive direction, or it can be our worst enemy and take us down completely. Either way, it is the mind. So we all know what the mind is. Mind is where all of our thoughts, all of our emotions, all of our whether it is sadness or happiness, or everything is in the mind. Our experience of the outer world is only through the lens of the mind. Very important. So we all know what mind is, but what is awareness? Because awareness plays a extremely important role in all of this. So before I define awareness, I want you to get that understanding of awareness by yourself. So let me ask you a question. Your mind is thinking about many thoughts. It is thinking about, it is experiencing many emotions. It is going through, that internal dialogue. It is doing so many activities. So the question is, and let me frame my question before you answer in the chat. Is it possible for you to observe your mind? Is it possible for you to observe your thoughts? Is it possible for you to observe your emotions? Is it possible for you to say, I am feeling sad, I am feeling happy? In other words, okay, type in the chat yes or no, yes or no. Someone is saying not sure, some are saying not possible, but pretty much everyone is saying yes, yes, yes. And for those of you who are not sure or feeling that it is not possible to observe our mind, just think about this. Of course, you can tell someone, hey, I'm feeling sad now, I'm feeling happy now. If you are able to make that statement, that means that you are observing your mind. So, of course, it is possible for us to observe our mind. Okay, great. Thank you for your active participation. So, now that it is, we have established that we can observe our mind. So, who is observing the mind? Let us think about it for a moment. Who is observing the mind? So let us park that question for a moment. And I want you to take you back your memory lane all the way back to your high school English grammar teacher. You might be saying, why is Venkat suddenly taking me from here to there? Yes, you will understand. So imagine that grammar teacher in the class writing on the board and explaining to you the basic structure of sentences. And the English teacher might be saying that most sentences have a subject and an object. Let us take a very simple sentence. The sentence is, the teacher is instructing the student. The teacher is instructing the student. In this simple sentence, the object is the student and the subject is the teacher. Stated another way, the object is being acted upon by the subject. So there is a subject, there is an object, which are two distinct things. So let us tie that back into the observation that we made. We said that it is possible for I to observe my own mind. It is possible for you to observe your own mind. It is possible for you to observe your own thoughts and emotions. So in that particular sentence, what is the object and what is the subject? What is the subject and what is the object? In that particular sentence, you observing your mind, in that sentence, your mind is the object and you are the subject. And subject and object are totally different, which means to establish that you are not your mind. I am not my mind because I'm able to observe my mind. If I'm able to observe my mind, how can I be my mind? Right? So we have to remember that we are not our mind or our body. But instead of really going in depth over there, let us just know that the mere fact that we are able to observe our mind, create that distance between the mind, that part of you which is able to observe the mind is pure awareness. So that is the difference between awareness and mind. And both of these concepts have a bearing on have a direct relevance to focus and concentration, as we will see in just a minute. But let me give another way of looking at the mind and awareness so that we have a much clearer idea about it. Just imagine that your mind is a huge mall, the biggest mall in the city. There are different stores, different shops on different floors. Imagine that there is a shop on the ground floor that is selling the emotion of sadness, another shop, another store selling the emotion of happiness, another store having the filing cabinet of all of our distant memories, another store which has all of our fantasies of the future, all of our worries and stresses, different stores. And you are the shopper. You are able to travel from one place in the mall to another. You are able to travel from one place in the mind to another place in the mind. So you, the shopper, are the awareness, and you are shifting the awareness to different areas of the mind. And wherever the awareness shifts to, that is the exact experience that we get. So in that case, the mind is the mind having everything, but you are pure awareness, and we can focus our awareness on a specific area of mind, and we can, so that is the focusing part, and we, if we maintain awareness on that part of the mind or on that activity, that is concentration. So that is the relationship between focus and concentration and awareness and mind. So these four are the concepts that are extremely important for us to understand before we can learn exactly how we can master focus and concentration, because in order to master that, we need to really understand them. So we will get into that in the next step. So at this stage, let me ask you, is everyone with me, engaged with me? If you are still with me and following everything, say yes in the chat. I just want to keep checking in with you. Yes, totally. Yes, 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 yes. Great. Wonderful. Okay. And now we are going to go into the next part of our thing, where we understand how we can master these two things in order for us to take that quantum leap, in order for us to take that exponential path. All right. All right. So with that, now that we have come to a very clear definition of things, let me ask you a couple of more questions. As you were growing up, we were all told that, hey, in order for us to become successful, it is very important for us to um, excel in our studies, at least in the traditional education system. And most probably, your teachers have asked you, hey, concentrate so that you can study better. Or perhaps your parents may have told you, concentrate so that you can grow up in life. Or if you are a parent, if you have children, school going children, probably you might be telling your children, concentrate, concentrate on your studies so that you can become successful. Yeah. Tell me, how many of you have been told to concentrate, or you tell your children to concentrate? A, if you're told to concentrate, or if you ask your children to concentrate, and B, if no. Okay, so A or B, A or B, A or B, and let me end the poll and look at the results. Wow, a whopping 96% of you have answered A, which means that you have been told to concentrate, or you might be telling your children to concentrate. Great, and that is perfectly fine. Now, let me ask you another related question. Have you, I mean, for you to come up in your career, for you to take up a job, you might have taken formal um, training in some kind of a skill. Probably you trained as an engineer, you trained yourself as a doctor, you devoted your self to your particular career and learned those particular skills. You might have learned communication skills, you might have learned everything. But tell me, how many of you have, in the same rigorous way in which you learned your trade, you learned your skills related to your job, how many of you have formally learned how to focus and concentrate? And how many of you are practicing concentration on a regular basis, on a formal basis? So here is a poll. A, if you have formally learned how to focus and concentrate, click on A. B, if no, and C, somewhat. A or B or C. And let me end the poll and share the results. So almost 45%, 43% do not have any kind of formal training on focusing and concentration. Almost 30% somewhat not formal, and about 29%, yes, they have had a formal coaching on how to focus and concentrate, and that is good. But the takeaway is that majority of us, we have only been told how to concentrate, but we never learned how to focus and concentrate. We tell our children how to focus, concentrate, you will come up on life, but we never tell them how to do that, right? And because we do not formally learn, because we do not formally practice, we do not get good at concentration. We get good at what? Distraction. And whatever we practice consistently, we become good at that. And because we are practicing distraction all the time, we become extremely good at distraction. Whereas what is really required is a absolute focus and a absolute concentration that requires a formal and rigorous way of uh, learning and practicing. Just imagine how Neeraj Chopra, who has won the gold medal for India in javelin, how did he reach there? He did not do it on a informal basis, on an ad hoc basis. It was a formal and rigorous training, learning how to throw the javelin and practicing over and over again how to throw the javelin. And only by doing that, using a rigorous methodology, a formal methodology, that we can get to that point of taking the exponential path to where we want to go, right? Now, with that, let us now understand, okay, uh, you might be thinking, okay, Venkat, everything that you're saying makes sense. Or some of you may be saying, okay, kind of, sort of makes sense. Okay, wherever you are, that is fine. But now let us actually start learning how to train our mind to focus and to concentrate. And for that, we need to go one more level deeper, right? So, what is that level deeper? See, I'm sure many of you would have been excited at some point in your life when, for the first time, you got something new and you were so totally looking forward for that. Maybe it is that brand new laptop, a powerful laptop, or that iPhone, whatever the latest model is, or that great, wonderful bike, or maybe a new car, or something that excited you, something that made you very proud to own. You might have gotten such a gadget in your life, right? What did that gadget come with? It came with a instruction manual. And if that was the first time that we got that gadget and we have never used that gadget before, what did we do? We religiously went through the instruction manual. We studied it in depth in order to master the workings of that gadget, of that instrument, so that we can use it efficiently, so that that gadget can serve us. Now, even more sophisticated, even more powerful than any gadget or anything that we can think of that has been invented by man in the world today, even more powerful than the most sophisticated machine is our mind. Yes, orders of magnitude, billions of times, orders of magnitude more powerful than the most sophisticated computer or machine, or space rocket, or whatever you can think of or visualize. Our mind is more powerful than that. Now, if a small gadget would come with an operating manual, and we spend time going through that manual in order to master that, what about the mind? Have we gone through the operating man? Is there an operating manual for the mind? And have we really gone into understanding the mind? Fortunately, the answer to this is yes, there is a manual to the mind. The second part of the question, not many of us would have really gone through the instruction manual of the mind and tried to master that mind, because if we have an instrument, we need to master it, just like we mastered our car or whatever. What is that manual? We come from a tradition of yogic sciences, and yogic sciences, or the spiritual sciences, are as real a science and even more real than any of the other sciences, whether it is quantum physics or modern medical sciences or astronomy, or anything. This spiritual science is even more in depth. It delved into the depths of the mind. While all of those sciences are sciences of the outer world, spiritual sciences are the sciences of the inner world, and the inner world is much, much more expansive, much more complex than the outer world. So fortunately, the yogic sciences have created a manual, and according to the yogic sciences, there are 6 states of the mind. Rather, uh, the states of the mind. Let us look at the states of the mind. What are the states of the mind? 5 states of the mind. The first state of the mind, and each one of us are in one of these states of mind. No matter who we are, what we are, our mind is in one of these 5 states. The first state is the Muda state. The Muda state of the mind is a dull and tamasic state where the mind is in such a state of inertia. It doesn't want to move. It is so lazy. It wants to stay exactly where it is. And that is obviously, something that doesn't serve us at all. And in my lifetime, I have been through this Muda state of mind myself at many levels, at many times, and it is not a good state of being to be. So let me share a little bit about myself and how I went into those Muda states. So, like I told you, like I said before, I worked as I was a successful software professional in the high-tech world from 87 to 2005. And at the peak, at the pinnacle of my career, I walked away from my profession and I became a full-time student of spirituality and came back to India in 2005. And for the last 15 or 16 years, I have been on this path. So I have been both in the corporate world and as a full-time student of spirituality, and I understand the challenges of both worlds. But the point I'm making is that I have been through these dull states of mind despite external successes. The tamasic state of mind where there is no inertia and we stay still, or even worse, we slide back. And I have hit rock bottom many times at many levels. So I have seen that Muda state of mind. It is not a good state of mind for us to be in. What are the other states of mind? The second state of mind is the Kshipta state of mind, where the mind is extremely restless and distracted and the mind is out of control. And most people in the modern world today are in this state of mind, the Kshipta state. It is like entertaining so many thoughts, thinking about, having all of those conflicting thoughts, and the mind is totally restless. Our reaction is impulsive to whatever is happening. It is impulsive to other people's actions towards us. It is a reaction to our ingrained patterns of thinking. So we are not in control. When the mind is out of control, our life goes out of control. So Kshipta state, even though one might be successful on an external basis, but still internally there is that turmoil going on. So that is very much a state that is possible. Kshipta. The third state of mind is Vikshipta. Vikshipta is the opposite of Kshipta, and here the mind is very preoccupied with one single thing. Maybe that single thing is, okay, how to get that job that I want, how to achieve that financial independence that I want, or how to find that ideal better half for my life, a spouse for myself, whatever it is. But the mind is preoccupied with something all the time. It is thinking where irrespective of the activity that we are doing, our mind is focused on only one thing. So this is definitely a higher state of mind, and many philosophers, many artists and poets, they are in this Vikshipta state of mind. They are preoccupied. It is a different state of our being. And being in the Vikshipta state doesn't necessarily mean that go in the positive direction. Being in the, if we are constantly thinking about that huge problem, that unsolvable problem, and if our mind is constantly on the problem, that is also a Vikshipta state, but it drags us back. It really destroys us. So we have to be very careful. Any state of mind can be used for going in any direction, and it is only our intellect, it is our awareness which tells us, our conscience that tells us the right from the wrong. So that is the third state of mind. The fourth state of mind is Ekagra. Ekagra is that single pointedness of the mind, and it refuses to budge, it refuses to move until it accomplishes what it needs to. That is the state of ekagrata, ekagrata. In the West, from US or Europe or from Japan, they talk about the state of the mind called the flow. The flow is nothing but the state of ekagrata, which has been enunciated by our rishis and sages many thousands of years ago. So that is the fourth state of mind. And the fifth state of mind is niruddha, where the mind is completely mastered and restrained. So for us to have a unflickering focus and unprecedented concentration, what do you think our state of mind should be? Can we be in the absolute state of focus and concentration in Muda state or Kshipta state or Vikshipta? Not really, only partially, only glimpses, but we need to be consistently in state number 4 or state number 5, that is Ekagra or Niruddha states of mind. And Ekagra would be more than sufficient. And talking about ekagra, I think many of you must already be familiar with this term. It is a term that is used in our Indian vernacular languages, ekagrata. And there is a beautiful story which I'm sure many of you would have heard from your parents or your teachers, or you might be telling your own children about the importance of concentration by relating this story of the Kauravas and the Pandavas, who, when they were children and when they were being taught the martial arts and everything by their guru, Dronacharya, and he called all of them for a archery contest. And the target was to release the arrow and hit the eye of the bird. So he put a stuffed bird in the branches with a eye, and he calls one after one and asks them to take aim and shoot at the eye of the bird. But he tells them, don't release the arrow unless I give you permission. And he asks the first guy, okay, what do you see? And he says, I see the bird. What else do you see? I see the branches. I see the animals. I see every one of my brothers standing here. And Dronacharya said, okay, boss, okay, next. Don't even release the arrow. So the next guy comes and he's giving similar answers, and everyone is disqualified, including the 4 Pandavas, even though they are able to narrow it down to just the bird, but still not enough. And finally comes Arjuna, and Dronacharya asks Arjuna, okay, take aim. What do you see? Arjuna says, I see the eye of the bird. What else do you see? I don't see anything but the eye of the bird. Don't you see the bird? Don't you see the branches? Don't you see the leaves? No, I see only the eye of the bird. And Dronacharya gives him the permission to release the arrow. And that is what is ekagrata, full concentration, right? So the question that may arise in your mind is, okay, Venkat, I mean, great. In that epic, the Mahabharata, Arjuna is such an accomplished person, and he can reach the states of ekagrata. But is it for me? And the good news is, each and every one of us are equipped with exactly the same mind as Arjuna or Dronacharya. We can reach that state of ekagrata, and when we are able to reach that state, we can really take that exponential path because we are equipped with the same mind. Nature has not discriminated for us. We have the exact same tools. So now the question is, okay, finally we are now coming to, okay, how are we going to learn and practice focus and concentration? So let me ask you this. How many of you want to learn how to master focus, and concentration. Type yes in the chat or I in the chat if you want to learn focus and practice concentration. Great. Yes. And I see people on YouTube also and Facebook also responding. Everyone is saying and I really appreciate all of your answers. Okay, so let us now look at how we learn that particular skill. So there are a few ways in which we can immediately um, take steps to master how to focus and how to concentrate. So there are more specifically, I will only mention 6 of the ways, 6 most important ways. Okay, so the first way in which we can learn how to focus and how to be practice concentration is by having a regulated lifestyle. Regulated lifestyle means that we are waking up and sleeping at around the same time. We have a regular pattern of dietary habits. We have some regular timely activities so that our body and our mind are attuned to a certain rhythm, and it is even more advantageous if we tune that rhythm to that of the nature, because many of us, we unfortunately do not have a very regulated lifestyle, and just that one simple change itself makes a huge difference in whether we can focus and we can concentrate. So very simple thing, but very important thing. The second thing is doing only one thing at a time by removing distractions. And many of us, we are under the impression, we are under the false impression of the mind that, hey, we can multitask, we can do many things at the same time, and so we are working, and there comes a message, and we attend to that message, and we think about something else, and then comes a phone call, and then back to work. We are constantly switching contexts, and that causes a huge drain on the mental energy. Even if you switch context for even a momentary thing, just glancing whether a message has come, even if you do not attend to that, that itself is very expensive in terms of the mental energy. And so to really focus and practice concentration, do only one thing at a time. The mind, even though it is very powerful, it is not capable of doing multiple things at the same time. Remove the distractions and stay on one thing. The third thing is to practice Pratipaksha Bhavana. That is very important for us to maintain focus and concentration. What does Pratipaksha Bhavana mean? Remember, a few minutes ago, we said that it is possible for us to observe our own thoughts, our own emotions, our own mind. When we notice, when we are in awareness that our mind is not in a positive state, maybe it is angry, maybe it is irritated, maybe it is agitated, maybe it is stressed out, but the moment we become aware of that, there are some things that we can do. There are certain breath practices that we can do. I'm not going to talk about those breath practices right now, but I'm going to talk about a shift of a mental state called Pratipaksha Bhavana, where we bring in the exact opposite thought of whatever our mind is experiencing or feeling at that moment. So, for example, if I figured out that I'm getting very stressed out, I intentionally, as the observer, as that pure awareness, I intentionally implant and say that even though I'm going through a stressful condition, I will tell myself that I am relaxed. If I am feeling angry, or agitated, I tell myself, I am cool. So we are planting the exact opposite emotion into the mind. Even if our conscious mind, even if we do not believe that, of course, we do not believe that. What do you mean, Venkat? How can I say that I'm relaxed when I'm really stressed out? I'm really dealing with the stressful situation. Yes, we will not believe that, but still we need to implant that, because you know what? The mind does not, cannot entertain two conflicting thoughts at the same time. So it really is the moment we implant the opposing thought, the pratipaksha bhavana. Pratipaksha means opposing, bhavana means that intention, that feeling. When you implant that, then naturally the mind has to decide, okay, boss, I cannot do two things at a time. I'll only stay on this, and it will stay on the thing that you implanted. So it is very important to bring back your focus, because especially when we are going through stressful states, when we are going through states of anxiety, our mind is so dissipated that we cannot concentrate, we cannot focus. And that is the time that we need to really gather up. That is the time to take that convex lens and bring the mind together, so pratipaksha bhavana is a very important aspect to that. And then they, even more as important as these three are, the next three that I'm going to mention are even more important. Yoga asanas, for example, extremely helpful. Many of us equate yogasana only to the physical asanas, but and physical health, physical exercise. But yogasanas are so much more than just physical exercise. It is a holistic approach to the body and to the mind. So it is extremely important, yogasanas. The next is conscious breathing. Conscious breathing is a practice. It is also called pranayama. One of the branches of yoga. Yoga is actually 8 branches: yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, dhyana, dharana, pratyahara, and samadhi. So yogasana is the third aspect, and conscious breathing is the fourth aspect of yoga. Because the moment we hear the term yoga, we only equate it to the physical yogasanas, but as we just saw, it is only one of the 8 limbs of yoga, and conscious breathing is extremely important. And I will talk about how conscious breathing helps in focus and concentration, and I'll come to that in a second. And the sixth way is by practicing meditation. Meditation is so very important for us to develop that focus and develop that concentration. And let me talk about these last two, conscious breathing and meditation, and how they impact focus and concentration. Because whenever we are doing conscious breathing is so directly related to focus and concentration, because our mind is kept into a single space in to follow our breath. So to do conscious breathing, to do pranayama, is to do what? It is to practice concentration. So when we are practicing conscious breathing, and I'm using the two terms conscious breathing and pranayama interchangeably, when we do that conscious breathing, not only is it helping us get a healthy body and a healthy mind and a peaceful soul, but also it helps us immensely in developing our powers of focus and powers of concentration. And meditation is a holistic practice that really helps us, because in meditation we are bringing the thought from those dissipated rays onto a single thought, and even to a state of no thought. And so these last two, conscious breathing and meditation, are so important in gaining those essential skills of focus and concentration. And many of you, remember, said that you want to reach that peak, whether that peak is in your career or in your financial life or in your family or personal life, whatever your pursuits may be. in order to really realize your fullest potential that you are capable of. Linear path will not do. An exponential path will do. And exponential path is only possible when you learn and practice focus and concentration. And the best way of learning and practicing focus and concentration is by adopting, learning these holistic inner transformational skills. Because when you do that, that is when you are changing yourself from the inside out. So these are the 6 ways in which you can really take those steps to go to the next level. To the best of my ability, I have shared with you how we can, what is focus, what is concentration, why it is important, and how to reach there. But obviously, within the 1 hour, I cannot really take you through each and every step of the way. And for that, I am really happy to be offering a 7-day live journey with me. See, right now I'm not able to see you, but in the 7 days program that I'm offering, we will be seeing each other face to face every day for the 7 days. We will be meeting for 75 minutes. So it is a program that helps you in learning and practicing many of the holistic skills, practices that are required in order for us to develop focus and concentration, in addition to giving a healthy body and a healthy mind, of course. So very briefly, conscious breathing is one of the skills practices, a deep and effective meditation, conscious relaxation, and practice of mindfulness. And all of these are like those practices that help us transform at a cellular level, a inside out transformation. So let me share about the program that I am offering. The program I have called it Yogic Breath for Healthy Body, Mind and Soul. Yogic Breath for Healthy Body, Mind and Soul. And it is coming from the yogic traditions. So what is involved in that? Before I share about what the program is, I want to first share a amazing word, a testimonial that I received from Dr. Atul Shah, who is a practicing cardiologist for the last 41 years and who has taken this yogic breath program. And he said, after taking my program, in his words, I realized that conscious breathing is one of the most important skills for our emotional stability. Without emotional stability, it is not possible to avoid lifestyle diseases. And I'm so happy to be receiving this from a authority such as Dr. Atul Shah. So let me share about what is included in the program. Like I said, it is a 7-day program. It is a live meeting for 75 minutes each day, meeting from 6:45 in the morning to 8 o'clock in the morning, a total of 75 minutes. And I do a batch every alternate week. So the next batch is starting on the 15th of November, and the batch after that is starting on the 29th of November. And every batch, it starts on a Monday and ends on a Sunday. So 7 full days of 75 minutes where we go through a very in-depth training. And I'm going to share exactly what you're going to learn during those 7 days. So that, and then there is going to be a preparatory onboarding or orientation live session 2 days prior on the Saturday prior, at 8 p.m. and the intent for that is to prepare people to derive the maximum benefit, how to be better prepared for the classes, and what are the do's and don'ts, and um, everything to be physically, mentally, and physically be prepared for the class. So it is including that preparatory onboarding live session. It also includes a membership into a WhatsApp group that is very specific for the batch, so that you can interact with me, and I can you can share with me how you have been doing your assignments. Yes, I give some offline assignments also, which take a small amount of time, but really help in that inner transformational process. And so this is what is included in the program. And like I said, I'm going to talk about exactly what we are going to cover during those 7 days. What are the various subjects we are going to talk about? But now the question that might be going on in your mind is, okay, Venkat, uh, how do I become part of this 7-day yogic breath program? And let me share that with you. It is a 7-day program that I have put it at a modest investment of 750 rupees only. I want this program to be widely available, as many people taking advantage of this, and I have included quite a number of bonuses into this program, and I call this as a investment and not an expense, because you are really investing that energy, that money energy, in your own inner self for that inner transformation, and the results will be with you for a lifetime. And that is why I call this as an investment, and the investment is 750 rupees. And when you do that, you are really going to learn a distilled set of practices from me having been in both the corporate and the spiritual world, and I know exactly which principles, which are the essential practices to take, and what is the right way to do and practice them, and really master them. So this is the program, a 7-day program, 6:45 to 8 o'clock, 75 minutes every day. Batch starting on 15th of November, another on 29th of November, with a live onboarding call and at an investment of 750 rupees. Let me share the links, and immediately after I share the links, I'm going to talk more about what is it that I'm going to cover, how a typical class would be, and all of the details I will go into. But let me first share the InstaMojo links for the 2 batches. So let me stop the share here. Okay. And in the chat, by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to write in the chat, and I will address each and every question that you may have about the program. And let me share this link both in Facebook and YouTube. So that is the link for the November 15th to 21st batch, and let me share another link, which is the link for the November 29th to December 5th batch. So here is the link for the November 29th to December 5th. So these are the 2 links. If you are able to see the link, can someone type yes or a Y in the chat, so I can be sure that, okay, great, thank you. I have, okay, great, thank you. And if someone from Facebook or YouTube, if you also can let me know, I would appreciate that. All right, very good. Now, you have the details about how to join the program for the 2 dates, exactly at the top level. What is it? you might ask, okay, exactly what is it that, what are the benefits that you're going to receive? You are going to learn how to really focus and concentrate. But in one sense, those are the byproducts, because you are really going to learn how to have a healthy body and a healthy mind and a healthy soul. And unless all of those are possible, it is not possible to really focus and concentrate. So we are going to learn many inner transformational skills. So let me go through the details of what we are going to learn. And by the way, feel free to ask any and all questions in the chat, and I will make sure that I address each and every question that you may have. So again, for those of you who want to pay by mobile payment, what I have given is the InstaMojo links, and when you pay by InstaMojo, you will receive an auto reply with the necessary information, with the Zoom information and with how to join the WhatsApp group, and all of that information will be in the auto reply. And but for those of you who prefer to make a payment using Google Pay or Phone Pay, you could still do that through InstaMojo. It gives that link. But if you are interested in that, let me share the link. These are the QR codes. Make sure that you note down this telephone number. And we are not able to send a auto reply when you make the payment of 750 rupees on this, but send a screenshot to the number that you see on the screen and indicate whether you want to join the November 15th or the November 29th batch, and we will be sure to send you all the necessary information. And I will share this slide one more time towards the end. But I also want to mention that we need to respect time, and for that I will end this webinar in exactly 15 minutes. 15 minutes, we are going to end that webinar, and the offer will be open for the next 15 minutes only. So it is an offer that is given for people who are participating in my live webinars. Now, I am actually proud to share this testimonial from Praveen. Praveen, many of you might be familiar with Praveen Vadalkar, and in fact, you might be here because of seeing the messages about my webinar through his channels. And he has taken this particular program, the Yogic Breath program, with me. And at that time, he was experiencing a lack of focus. He was feeling a little bit tired. He was feeling, that lack of energy or fatigue, and it is a common problem for many of us, right? And he took my program and experienced the positive benefits. And he said, after taking Venkat's Yogic Breath program, I have an increased focus and energy. Remember how important these two are for us to take that path of success. And he himself has been a very successful person, and he is finding this very useful. My empty mind chatter has stopped, and I feel a deeper connection with my inner self. I now have more time because I look forward to waking up early every day to do my sadhana. And I'm very much in gratitude to Praveen for giving that wonderful testimonial. But the only reason he gave that testimonial was because he experienced that result. And because he experienced that, he has given that testimonial. And I am very happy. It always makes me happy to see people get that positive inner transformation. So, what is it that we are going to learn during these 7 days? Let me address that. Also know that our time is fairly limited. We are going to end in about 14 minutes, and any questions that any of you have, please feel free to write in the chat, and I will be happy to answer any questions regarding the program. I will answer each and every question. let me now share a little bit about what are the things that you're going to learn, how a typical session would be. And today is, by the way, those of you who have joined, type a I in the chat so I know, so that I can welcome you. So type a I in the chat, and thank you for that. Great. All right, so let me thank you for all of the every one of you who is typing a I, and I will answer each and every question that is in that. And I see many questions coming through, but before that, let me actually very quickly share with you the exact content of what you will learn and what you will practice during the 7 days. So here is what you will learn and what you will practice. The central practice is going to be around essential conscious breath practices so that you can have a healthy body, mind, and soul. And in a separate webinar, I talk about how really doing this conscious breathing is helping us heal a number of physical illnesses like high blood pressure or heart related conditions or diabetes or improper sleep patterns or chronic body pains. It has been proven, and conscious breathing is being used to have that healthy body, and it also helps us in many of our emotional issues like relieving us of stress and anxiety, becoming much more focused. So of course conscious breath is going to be the central practice, and I am going to spend quite a bit of time on the foundational and incremental building blocks, because unless we are able to really build that foundation, and this is a mistake I see many people making, they take a piecemeal approach, and without having those proper foundations, without establishing in the correct patterns of breath, if we try to take the higher level practices, it is not of much use, and therefore it take you through a very rigorous, very methodical training so that we can go step by step. And it is all the time that we spend 75 minutes every day. It is predominantly going to be focused on the practice, which means that you are not just practicing conscious breathing, you're not just practicing meditation, but you are practicing concentration. So in addition to conscious breathing is going to be the central pillar, but you are also going to learn a deep and effective meditation practice. I will take you through a very effective meditation practice. At the end of 7 days, you will have mastered that, or at least spend quite a bit of time, because each day, every day, we are going to spend quite a bit of time in meditation practices. Of course, everything that we do in the 75 minutes is a meditation. Our deep breath is a meditation. Everything is a meditation, but I will also take you through specific incremental meditation practices, easy meditation practices. So you will learn conscious breathing. You will learn have a deep meditation practice. You will learn how to properly relax your body for a healthy body, for healing our body at a deep level, for healing our mind at a deep level. And at this stage, many of you may be having a question, Venkat, I'm already sleeping for 6 hours or 8 hours. Is that not enough rest for my body? And the answer is no. We need to consciously learn how to relax our body and mind so that even a few minutes of that practice, that yogic practice, is equivalent to a few hours of sleep. So you will learn that, and you will also learn how to practice mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness, in a simplest way, it is saying practicing of concentration all of our waking hours. But more precisely, mindfulness is that in which you are completely present and you're completely aware and you're completely focused on each and every activity that you do, whether it is a mundane and routine activity that you do every day, like drinking that cup of coffee or getting ready for the work, or doing some professional work, whatever it is. When we are in a state of mindfulness, we can practice concentration. So we when we combine conscious breath with meditation, when we combine it with proper relaxation and mindfulness, it will create a inside out life changing transformation. Because for us to really get onto that quantum leap, in order to take that quantum leap, in order to take that exponential path, a outside in approach will not work. It will only have a temporary effect. We need to have that inside out transformation, and all of these holistic practices, they transform us at a cellular level and clean up the cobwebs in the mind, rearrange them thinking patterns, and help us root out those deeply ingrained patterns. We are all creatures of habit. We are all creatures of patterns, and unless we shake them up, nothing is going to change. And these are the practices that help us in that transformation. So now, let me answer each and every question. So Nishi, you're saying, what should I do after payment? Nishi, if you are paying by InstaMojo, you will get a auto reply. And in that auto reply, it will contain the Zoom session information. It will contain the link to the WhatsApp group, and you can join that group. All of that information will be present in the auto reply when you pay by InstaMojo using one of those two links. Now, if you are paying through the mobile payment through PhonePe or Google Pay using the QR codes I gave on the screen, make sure that you send a screenshot of that payment of 750 rupees to that number, and let me share that on the screen one more time, and one of us will get back to you with the necessary information. Absolutely. So I hope that is clear, and I will come to the other questions. Okay, let me share this QR code for those of you. Okay, so Nishi, if you have paid in the phone number 750 rupees, make sure you take a screenshot, note down that phone number that you see on the screen, and send a WhatsApp message. Send a WhatsApp message and indicate whether you want to join for the November 15th or November 29th. Send a WhatsApp message and we will get back to you. Okay, and I will address the other questions. Srijan is asking, I will pay through InstaMojo before 15th of November because I'm a student and I have to arrange money for making the payment. Okay, Srijan, I appreciate that very much, because I have said that this offer is open for only the next 20 minutes, or actually not 20 minutes at this stage, but I totally understand that you are a student and you need to make the necessary arrangements to pay. So here is what we will do for you. Make sure that you leave your email address, only I can see. So leave your email address and telephone number, or better yet, note down my email address. I'm typing my email address, venkat@venkat-rao.com. Okay, so Srijan, you can send me an email when you are ready for the payment, and we'll make sure that your payment at the same rate of 750 rupees goes through. Or you can also send in your email address and telephone number in the chat, and no one will see, only I will see, because the messages are set to only the host seeing that, and also your telephone number, Srijan. And Many of you are sending the messages that you have done the payment, and I welcome each and every one of you. And those who haven't sent the message, just send a I in that, and I appreciate that. And let me address the other questions that are coming in. The other question from Sharad Seth. In this, we learn how to meditate and how to focus and concentrate. So, Sharad, I'll be happy to answer the question. Are you still in the webinar? If so, just type yes so that I know that you are there and I can answer your question. Okay, Sharad. So, great. Thank you for asking that. So, we are going to actually do many things during the 7 days, and I'll take you step by step through each and every process. One, we are going to learn methodically the conscious breathing practices, different kinds of breath practices, so that we can be established in the right patterns of breathing, because you know what, many of us have a wrong pattern of breathing, believe it or not, and we will start making many corrections from the inside out. And every breath practice is like a meditation, because I will be the mind, we will be entirely focusing on the breath, and there are certain breath practices that are exclusively used to practice focus and concentration, which are used in high stress kind of a situation. So in that sense, every breath practice is a meditation. But in addition to that, we are also going to go through a very methodical exclusive meditation practice. I take you step by step, incrementally, so that at the end of the 7 days, you have in your hands a very effective way of meditation. And many people do not have that meditation practice, a formal initiation or a formal learning of the meditation practices. And so you will do that. And in the process, what we are really doing as we practice the conscious breath practices, as we practice the meditation, as we practice the conscious relaxation, as we practice mindfulness, each and everything is a practice of learning how to focus and practicing and maintaining concentration. So yes, we are going to go through all of that. I hope it answers your question, Sharad. And if so, if it has answered your question, just type in a yes in the chat so that I know that it has answered your question. And great. Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions? I see a question from Madhav. The question from Madhav is, okay, Venkat, at the end of 7 days, what do we get? Are we going to have some kind of a takeaway? And the answer to that is yes, Madhav. During the 7 days, I'm going to take you through step by step, incrementally, and take you to a certain distance along this road of inner transformation. And at the end of 7 days, I'm going to give you an audio tape that you can practice along with my voice in the morning, doing that practice consistently. And I'll also give a audio tape for practice at the night, which is a combination of a breath practice and a meditation practice, which only takes about 15 minutes. And that really helps in relieving stress and having a very good night's sleep. And so all of these, these are the takeaways from the program. And of course, everything that you learn is something that you would already have internalized, and that skill is there. So let me see. Giriraj, okay, your question, Giriraj, is that you have learned various meditation techniques, but you're not able to practice on a daily basis. And how is it that my method will really help? And thank you, Giriraj, for asking that question. That is a very, very valid question, because over the course of the lifetime, of course, each one of us is interested in elevating our life, and we would have learned this skill and many skills practice, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, we are not able to put that into practice. And I totally understand that. And your question is, why is it going to be different when I learn it from you? Actually, there are two questions, as I understand. One is, how is your meditation method? Uh, how will my meditation method help? So during the 7 days, think of it this way. When was the last time when you consistently practiced meditation over a period of 7 days? And we are going to do that for almost 75 minutes every day. But the practice that I'm going to share with you during those 7 days is a very simple and very effective practice, and it is so much tied to the breath. Breathing is something that we do, and it really helps us to transport us ourselves into that state of no thought. And because we would have established ourselves in the practice over 7 days, and because I will leave with you a practice audio tape if for you to practice consistently, so that will already establish the patterns. You will be practicing in a group along with me, and that really causes a shift of energies. Now, that said, is there any guarantee that anyone who takes this 7 day program will practice meditation consistently? No, not really. Eventually, it depends upon the person, right? So the tools are there, the necessary environment for you to develop that as a practice, as a habit is there, and it will definitely be a very helpful aid for you. And I hope that has answered your question, Giriraj. And I will be available during the 7 days to answer any questions, and we will form a community, and so many useful skills that you will learn, which will hopefully give you that last, sometimes we go on a path, and we need that last one push for us to get onto the path, and probably I am the person to give that push, or rather a pull into this energy frequency. So I hope that answers your question, Giriraj. And Srijan, what is the batch that you're thinking of joining? Is it the November 15th batch or the November 29th batch? November 15th. So today being the November 4th, and it is a festive day, tell you what, when do you think you can make that payment? When you are ready to make that payment, just get in touch with me, because I know you're a student. I have been a student, and I have been in situations where finding that money was sometimes difficult. And I know that when we really set our mind to do something, the universe will find a way. So you have my email address. Just get in touch with me, and you can be sure that I will respond to your questions. So that is fine. All right. So any other questions that I can answer? We are already over time. Yes, Region, and thank you too for having being in this conversation with me. By the way, um, those of you who are in the webinar, and I'm pretty sure that many of you who are in the webinar meet these three conditions, which is you have been spending the last 1 hour and 40 minutes with me. So you have stayed committed till the end, and you would definitely have a ideal peak vision of yourself. Even if the conscious mind is not believing, you would have a certain dream, and you would have answered that what is needed to get there is a exponential path, and probably 750 rupees is not a big amount for you to spend on this, but still possibly you have not joined, and I'm speaking to those people who have not joined but have met all of these conditions. And my question is why? Right? Because this investment, you have to invest your time of 75 minutes a day for 7 days. You have to invest 750 rupees. But these are the investments that give us returns over and over again. So if you're still on the wall thinking about it, now is the chance for you. And I'm going to close this webinar in the next 4 minutes exactly. And let me share the link. Okay. Okay, Sharad. Um, Again, my answer to you is exactly the same. Since you are in the webinar and you have specifically sent me this question, do send me an email. First off, share your email address and telephone number with me. And also, you can write to me at venkat@venkatrao.com. Here is my email address, and you can communicate with me, and you can, because you are mentally committed to joining the program, Sharad. Yes, of course. So we'll make sure to send you the necessary links tomorrow. So be sure to share with me your email address and your telephone number so that it becomes easy for us to communicate, Sharad. All right. Let me, any other questions? By the way, let me actually share with you. I'm going to end this in the next 2 minutes, but for those of you who want to stay in touch with me, you can join my mailing list. You can join my mailing list by going to this landing page after the webinar. Click on this landing page link right now. It will take you to your browser. Enter your email address. You will get an auto reply, and click on the confirm email on that, and you will be in my email address. So even if you have not joined my program, that is fine. Let us still stay in touch. So for those of you who are in the webinar, still in the webinar, let me ask you, have you found the last 100 minutes that we spent with each other, has it been a useful time for you? If so, just type yes, and I'm going to close the webinar in just 2 minutes. I want to hear from you if you have found the webinar to be helpful. If you have any questions or anything, just type in a yes in the chat. Great, thank you. I'm hearing yes from many of you, and thank you for that. And Sharad, by the way, I still haven't gotten your email address. And okay, thank you. Thank you, Madhusudan and Munjit and Srijan, everyone. Thank you so much. You have all spent this Deepavali time here with me, and I thank you very much for that. The last 100 minutes, the universe has connected us in this way, and I hope we stay connected in some way, shape, or form. And even if you have not decided not to join this program, my heartful suggestion is adopt those holistic methods, learn them from a qualified person so that you can really go on to that path. You can go through that inner transformation, inner change, because oftentimes there is a resistance to change. And I wish you all the best. And for every one of you who has joined the program, welcome. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the program. And for those of you who still want, who have written to me that you want to join the program, get in touch with me, or I will get in touch with you if you have already shared your contact information. And with that, have a very happy Deepavali. Have a great day and have a wonderful life, everyone. Thank you. and namaste to everyone.